The EduTech Guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. Enjoy the program.
My name is Irving Hamer. I'm a partner with a firm called P3 Strategies, which is based in Jackson, Mississippi. And my work with the firm is the reconfiguration of data analytic tools for use in public education.
All right.
So I'm also a partner at Tableau Software, which is the largest analytic software organization in the country, maybe even in the world.
Okay.
We think it's the number one. And we've been developing their education niche, right, for them, right? So their analytic tool is used widely in private industry, finance, medicine, sales. Every place, the U.S. Census Department uses it.
Okay.
But in public education, we've been delinquent. We're not up to date on using analytics in our use of data. Right?
Okay.
So we have been talking in education, data-driven decision-making since about 2001 or 2002, and I can say to you, frankly, we haven't been doing it in the way that the tools now make it possible to do. So I can give you like sort of one example. Each of us has millions of rows of attendance data because we go to school from kindergarten to 12th grade. Every single day, somebody marks as either present, absent, or tardy. That data is archived someplace, but then it's never looked at again, right? And in that data, there are all kinds of trends and patterns that tell a story about an individual student and their performance in school. So you can see a relationship between attendance, and grades, and test scores. But if you never look at the data, right, you cannot really sort of understand what is being said and why it is that Johnny can't read. So Johnny's a sixth grader. He can't read. And when you check his attendance for 6 years of school, sometimes you'll discover that Johnny's been absent like a whole year. Right? 45 days this year, 25 days subsequent years. Those days add up. They become a year's worth of absenteeism. They become explanatory for why Johnny doesn't have the skills that he and sometimes she need to have. That's just in the case of attendance. But we also have reconfigured the software to do analyses of grades, all the assessment data, right? Formative and summative assessment data can be analyzed, right? So everyone says we take too many tests, right? So you take all these tests, and sometimes you don't really know what they mean, right? The analytics give us the ability to go in, analyze the tests every test that you've ever taken, right? Find your strengths and your weaknesses by strand, right? So you could be a great algebra student, but there's one strand of the algebra curriculum that you don't really master, and your performance could be better if you got extra help on one specific strand in algebra, right? But if I don't know that you have that weakness, right, I can't get the extra help that I need for that particular strand.
Exactly.
The analytics give us the possibility of getting that done, right? We can go forward. Discipline data, right? So if you have a little bit of a behavior problem, right, you get an incident report, and it goes into a file. And from year to year, there's no correspondence between what you did last year and what's going on this year. Right? And so without taking a look at that historical or longitudinal data, as we call it, we don't know that you had zero behavior problems for the first 5 years of school. You have some event in your neighborhood, some event with some other kids, some bullying activity goes on, something happens to a parent, and all of a sudden your behavior spikes and you have a whole number of incidents. And if you're doing it in 1 year, you think that something is wrong for just that 1 year, right? If you go back and you look and you say, wait a minute, Irving never had a behavior problem. What happened this year that caused him to have a problem? And correspondingly, it goes the other way, right? All of a sudden, Irving has had a series of incidents behaviorally, and sometime in the 7th grade, Buddha hits me, right? Something happens.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm a great kid, right?
Life-changing
Life-changing, life-changing. I get a girlfriend, right? Something like that happens, right? And
quarterback,
I'm the quarterback of the football team, right? And you can't have a behavior incident and play ball, right? So, but the data analytics give us the possibility of analyzing these patterns and these trends, and to do correlations between the things, right? So I've just been thinking recently about how it is that some young people can have excellent grades in school, right? So Irving is a great A student, takes the state accountability exam, bombs.
Right.
Takes a NAEP exam, bombs. Takes an ACT as if they're getting ready to go to college.
Right.
And they get a 17 on the ACT. But he's an honor student with really high grades. Something wrong with this, right?
Right, exactly.
Something's really wrong with that. And if you don't have the tool to allow you to analyze that, right, you don't really understand that there's a disconnect between grading and a student's actual knowledge and skill.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm here because we've done some installations of the software platform in the state of Florida.
Oh.
We've also done some stuff in Mississippi, right? Did some stuff in Memphis, and there are some technology folks who want to talk to me about possibly installing the analytic tool in their respective districts, right?
Yeah.
So
It sounds like a great tool because it's giving administrators and all the way down to the teachers the ability to deep dive into a student, check their background. You know, talking about that, it could have just been that they're not good at taking assessments.
that's exactly right.
You know, but having all that data from assessment data to attendance, to discipline, and to grades, that gives you the ability to make a better call on that judgment.
on that job. So you absolutely got it right. I mean, so are you sure you don't work for me?
No.
I want to tell everyone that I didn't pay you to say that, right? But that's exactly the point, right? Most of the data that people have is what we call aggregate, big numbers, right? Large numbers, and very often it's by group, right? Or by school, or by grade, or by class. What this does is allow you to really personalize the instruction, right? So you can actually drill down on an individual student. You can see his or her historical pattern in every data point, right, that is collected in a school district, right? So, you know, and we can customize it, right? We can do it for every single data point, you know, athletics, student engagement, band, you know, the special ed students, right? You know, everybody has a data set that goes to school.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't help them really unless you absolutely know what their patterns have been, what their trends have been over an extended period of time. And so that's what my work is, right? And it's been totally fascinating. We find all kinds of very interesting sort of patterns and consequences, and folks can change instruction. They can change supports. We also do analyses of interventions. So Irving Hamer has a particular problem in reading. He has a special sort of reading program. We can collect that data and analyze the data from the specialized reading program, right, that they are participating in. And we then aggregate it, we disaggregate it, we make it available, and it's real time.
Right.
So most student information systems, for instance, generate reports.
That's it.
They give you a report. And sometimes the report comes at the end of the week, end of the month, 3 weeks later, right? Sometimes that's too late, right? What you need is access to the data. I mean, let me do it differently. If you went to the doctor, right?
Right.
Right, and the doctor said, you know, I can't help you until this report comes in 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's a problem, right?
Yeah.
It's a problem. You wouldn't want your money managed like that.
Right.
You want the information
Real time.
real time. And so one of the nice things about the service that my colleagues and I have built is it's accessible real time, right? And you can put it on your iPad, put it on your computer. You can walk up and down the hallway with it, so administrators can have it, teachers can have it, right? It's a very interesting, very powerful sort of development in this education space. We think it's going to really quite transform what is happening in schools going forward.
So in addition to providing a district with the data and the analytics, do you guys also help districts with that next step? How to actually put into practice what they're seeing in the reports you generate?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? So we do that, but so we just had a sort of a situation. So one of the things that we do is we do you know, a student portfolio, student profile. We take all their data, we put it in one place, right? And the practitioners, the teachers and administrators who got a chance to look at this, realized that they need to be changing some programs based on stuff that they were seeing
Sure.
about the students that they were serving, right?
Right.
So we as adults, we make assumptions about what we think is going to work. We put it in the classroom, we put it in the hands of children. It works for some, but not for others. It doesn't work. None of these things work for everybody, right?
Right.
So there's always a little bit of a variation for everyone. And we can actually help folks analyze this data, what it actually says, right?
Yeah.
The intervention data is a really big deal, right? What does it tell you about a student if he or she is doing really well or not very well on the tool that we put in place to help them with their mathematics, right?
Yeah.
Or to help them with their science.
Yeah.
So it's a very right question, right? This is very important. It's not enough just to have the data, right, to look at.
Right.
This data is intended not to be report data; it's to be action data, right? This is what again. It's like they use in finance, right?
Right.
That someone takes your money, they invest it, they need to track it, monitor it, and like that, right? You go to the doctor, you go to the dentist, right? You want this tracked and monitored. You want it the most up to date sort of information about your wisdom tooth or your bank account,
Right.
and you don't want anybody to say, wait, come back 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
when I
right.
get this report, right?
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that's not the way to do that, right?
Yes.
And what my argument is, that's not the way to do this public education space either, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what we really are talking about here are children's lives, and these lives unfold on a daily basis, right? On an hourly basis, and you need information about them immediately, right?
Yeah.
And so the system we've developed uploads nightly, automatically. So even if you change schools, get this, right? So if you change schools for whatever reason, right? Something happens to your home. You go live with your grandparent, right? Across town.
Right.
The way this used to be, right? The way in some places it still is, takes a week or two for your records to catch up with you.
Right.
Right.
All you've done is go across town, right?
Right.
Now, never mind if you go out of state. Never mind if you go to another county or something like that, right?
Sure.
Right. The analytics give us the ability, because it uploads the data on a nightly basis, the very next day.
Right.
We know where you are. We know
That's
what
cool.
your classes are. We know what tests you've taken. We know what grades
Yeah.
you've gotten. Like that, right? So it's a very cool, powerful
That's
set of
very-
opportunities.
that is very,
so
very
it's very
cool.
cool. So,
Yeah.
So if our listeners are interested in getting in touch and finding out more information, website p3strategies.net.
p3strategies.net.
All right, I looked it up.
You looked it up.
Gonna
Right?
share it out on
That's
Twitter.
Right. That's exactly
Right.
Or they can call me up directly. My name is Irving Hamer. Again, my telephone number is 901-359-4595.
Cool.
Call me
Awesome.
up. Talk to me, right?
Awesome.
That's great.
I'll have
But-
the same kind of conversation with anybody.
It sounds like
That
a
is
great
great.
piece. And are you going to be here at FETC the rest of the
Yeah,
week?
I'm going to be here for the next couple of days through
Yeah.
through Thursday.
Cool.
Right,
Yeah, this is a great place to.
right.
It all happens in the hallway.
Yeah. I know that's true. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I used to come all the time, but then I got old, right? So I stopped coming. This is the first time I've been for a little while.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Thank
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guy's live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.